The sneak peek for Boruto TBV Vortex Chapter 15 is an interesting one. Boruto is having a private conversation with Kawaki on what looks like Naruto's Hokage's stone face, which leads to several branching questions. Did Boruto have another conversation with Mitsuki? Did he have literally any interaction with Damon at all? And did he have that long talk with Ada that she wanted? Given that this Kawaki conversation is in Chapter 15, and there's likely going to be an A-plot about the Sand Village situation, I can't imagine Boruto had a long interaction with Mitsuki or Damon. But if the Kawaki conversation is on the shorter side, then there might be room for Boruto to talk to Ada for a little while, which is a conversation I'm personally interested in, so I kinda hope this is the case. That said, it's entirely possible Boruto just shows up to the apartment and asks to speak to Kawaki privately, although I'm not sure why they'd fly all the way to the Hokage stone faces instead of just staying hidden in the apartment where no one will see them, especially since Ada's just gonna spy on them anyway, so it's not like their conversation will be any more secret if they leave the area, but it's still a possibility. That aside, getting into the actual dialogue, Boruto mentions the fact that Kawaki is too weak and that there isn't time for him to be trained by Naruto like he normally would have been, and decides to tell Kawaki about a decision he makes in the future in order to prompt him to do so sooner. Now, I've heard some different opinions on this, but in my opinion, it does seem implied that Boruto is talking about a decision Kawaki makes in order to become stronger, since he goes from talking about how Kawaki needs to get stronger but there isn't enough time to do normal training, to telling Kawaki about a decision he makes in the future. These ideas simply don't flow together unless they're related to Kawaki getting stronger, but maybe our perspective will change when we get the full chapter. Assuming it is about Kawaki getting stronger though, I kind of have mixed feelings about this depending on what they do with it. The main options I see off the top of my head would be for Kawaki to get more enhancements from Amato, Kawaki to gain power from one of the Shinju's Thorn Souls, or Kawaki to gain power from some other Otsutsuki related means. A lot of people seem to think Boruto's gonna train Kawaki using Koji's future sight like he did with Boruto, but I don't really think that's the route they're planning to go, at least it shouldn't be. Because one of the key narrative points with Boruto and Kawaki is about their identities as ninja and Otsutsuki and the rejection of their respective identities as ninja and Otsutsuki. Boruto proclaims that he is a ninja and seems to reject his identity as an Otsutsuki, while Kawaki accepts that he is an Otsutsuki and seems to reject his identity as a ninja. This is reflected heavily in both their fighting styles and training methods. It's literally the entire point of their ideological clash in Chapter 58. Boruto and Sarada wanted to train the ninja way, while Kawaki wanted to train Jigen's way. Narrative aside though, Boruto also mentions that this is a decision Kawaki inevitably comes to on his own, and I don't really see him asking Boruto to train him of his own accord. That doesn't feel like Kawaki's character. He's already doubled down on the idea that Otsutsuki powers and methods are far superior to that of ninja. That's his major conclusion after the Code Arc, so why would he backtrack and be pro-ninja style only to go back to being anti-ninja style again as we see in the flash forward scene? We also don't even know how long it took Boruto to get so strong with Koji's training, so we can't definitively say that this training method would even be fast enough for Boruto's taste. All in all, I definitely think he should use some Otsutsuki style method of gaining power, but he likely has more than one way to go about it. Regardless of which option they choose though, one thing I don't want to happen is for them to tell the reader what Kawaki's gonna do, and then anticlimactically watch Kawaki do it later on. Doing so would take away the agency of Kawaki's character and resolve, and would make the moment significantly less impactful. That said, there are ways to circumvent this while keeping this plot point with Boruto telling Kawaki about his future decision. Now, I'm not sure if they're gonna do this, but since we have another plot thread going on with the Sand Village right now, part of me wants them to cut away from Boruto and Kawaki before he reveals what Kawaki's gonna do, saving the revelation for the moment when Kawaki actually does the thing Boruto's talking about, where this future Kawaki scene is interspliced with a flashback to this conversation. Kinda like what they did with Kawaki and Amato when Kawaki got his Karma Seal back, except in this case, we wouldn't see the initial conversation. It's kind of like when Itachi mouths some words to Sasuke at the end of their fight, but we don't get to hear those words until after the truth about Itachi has been revealed. Not exactly the same thing, but it's close enough. The reason this works though, is because unlike Amato, Boruto isn't trying to plant the idea into Kawaki's head altogether. He's just giving him the idea sooner. He's essentially saying, look, you're gonna come up with this idea eventually, I'm just gonna tell you now so that you do it sooner. It's fundamentally the same concept as Koji's training with Boruto. Koji foresaw Boruto mastering these abilities in the future, he just helped Boruto master them sooner. Similarly, Koji foresaw Kawaki doing something to get stronger in the future, Boruto's just helping Kawaki come up with the idea sooner. The alternative works great in concept, but is a little iffy for Kawaki's character. It's to have Kawaki know the decision he makes in the future, and wrestle with the idea leading up to it. Maybe even denying the idea altogether at first, kind of like what Kawaki does when Amado first mentions the reconstructed Karma Seal. Quick spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't seen Attack on Titan, but Attack on Titan does this concept really well in the scene with Eren and Ramsey, where Eren knows that he's going to trample the world with a rumbling, and he is absolutely terrified of this fact, and he completely breaks down in front of Ramsey as he apologizes profusely to him. Of course, this was shown in a flashback of when Eren first went to Marley, so we already knew that Eren does the rumbling by this point, but you get the concept, that they could do something very similar with Kawaki if they wanted to. Now, I'm not saying Kawaki should break down crying like Eren, that's definitely not in Kawaki's character, but I think the concept of him struggling to come to terms with his future decisions is a good idea to potentially play around with. Now, if this is the route they go, the only option I can think of for Kawaki to get stronger while having to wrestle with a tough decision is if he has to sacrifice someone else in order to gain this power, such as devouring Moegi's Thorn Soul instead of using it to free Moegi from her tree. Otherwise, there's no cause for distress. In any case though, I think this covers most of my thoughts on the sneak peek spoiler. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought about any of the topics I mentioned, as well as anything I didn't bring up that you think I should have. Watch this video here for more of my content, subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.